Hey everyone, what is up? We have an absolute packed show tonight, and this is going to be absolutely amazing. First of all, we've got Kat, who's doing an amazing painting. How's it going, Kat?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Second of all, we have Tanya and Ann from Flower City Comic Con,
Hi.
and we've also
Hello.
got Julian from Wellsboro Comic Con.
Hello,
And
everybody.
we are here to talk tonight about the amazingness that is local Comic Cons. It is absolutely so much fun to go to a local con. You know them, you love them, but it seems like the mega cons get all of the love. So, what makes local cons so special that we should definitely be making sure to support them? Julia, Tanya, Ann, what are your thoughts?
Get to meet a lot of the local artists. You get to see all the things that are from your community, and you could support the people in your community so that you can see what's being created around you.
Completely agree. Some of the best artwork that I get is from local cons.
And it seems to be more personal because it is a smaller local convention. You don't have a tendency to get lost in the crowd. You get a little more time with the guests and the artists, and it just gives you that family friendly feel.
Definitely.
In our case, it's all community involvement and the families that come in that know everybody, but also the businesses.
Julian, I think we lost you at the end there. The businesses that what? Sorry.
The businesses that participate, make it a community event and not just a whole community organization. It just feels organic and it builds everything up in a really positive.
So, what goes into making a Comic-Con happen? What's like the biggest thing that you know that you have to do each and every year, or it's all just going to fall apart?
Plan, and more plan.
Yeah, more experiences than just showing up and shopping. That is a huge thing. We want our people to come, and we want them to stay and have a good time and be entertained and experience things and not just shopping and hanging out.
Definitely. I love going and seeing the 501st Legion. Definitely one of my favorite parts, one of my kids' favorite parts for sure. They absolutely love the Star Wars stuff when they go. Can't get them to watch anything yet, but they definitely enjoy seeing R2-D2 and being able to interact with the Stormtroopers and the Clone Troopers and all of that.
The 501st has a tendency to be on the lookout for me because I usually come by and try to steal the baby.
Me too.
Yes. We're like, look the other way. We're taking the baby. They're like, are you bringing the child back? I'm like, maybe.
Nah. It's the meeting and interacting with not just the professional cosplay groups, but the other cosplayers that come as well, and seeing the massive amount of talent and creativity and just fun that these people have. Everybody has while making these amazing cosplays, from somebody who's recycling things to somebody who has spent hours hand sewing something, to even the store-bought ones, and how they're just excited to be there and show them off, and the camaraderie around it. It does an amazing thing for the community itself.
Yeah, I definitely don't have the talent to be sewing and doing all of that. My wife sews, but with two young kids, we don't always have the time to go sew. So like I bought my Green Arrow costume last year. She did a Ravenclaw costume as well. So definitely like being able to do that kind of fun stuff is one of the biggest things for me at Comic-Con, is seeing all of those different ways that people kind of pull in their nerdy side, because it's definitely a ton of fun to see what gets people to come out and what gets them really excited about different areas of pop culture.
Yeah, we do talk about celebrating your fandom, and we have in the case of Star Wars, we'll have the 501st there, and people will get excited about the costumes. But then we also have, for instance, and this you can do at a small show like ours, a Kentucky Derby milliner, hat maker. And she can let people wear their hats and get photo ops for free. But then also talk about hat making as construction. And then we also have nonprofits do all sorts of activities with the kids, and it helps them get exposure in the community, but then the kids walk away with a little mask that they made for themselves. And that's just so fun to see them make all these connections, especially when you can go next level also. So in this case, this year, actually tomorrow in about 8 hours, we have the Darth Vader artist, Adam Gorham, coming. And so when you can tie that to the Kentucky Derby and our Disney artist and our 501st, it's just fun to see.
Very cool. Julian, I was actually blessed to meet some people who knew about Wellsboro Comic-Con when I was driving through back in May with my 8th graders. We took a trip down to Washington, D.C., and we stopped at the Welcome Center in PA. And they told me all about Wellsboro Comic-Con, and he goes, I've never been before, but everybody has heard about it. And I feel like that goes the same thing for Flower City. Like, we know that Flower City goes on, even if you've never been there before, because so many people talk about it. It's a fun experience, and I feel like there's probably about 20% of people who are new every single year.
Last year, we actually had somebody come from Michigan to see Charisma Carpenter. It just so happens that one of the board of directors, his son was currently in Michigan working. And they're like, wait, have you been to Rochester? And he's like, I lived in Rochester. They're like, oh, do you know Flower City Comic-Con? He's like, yes, whatever. And so he was like, oh yeah, I came to see Charisma Carpenter, da, da, da. And Ian's like, well, I work security. And they're like, oh, you're a red shirt. I knew I recognized you. And he's like, well, my dad happens to be one of the 6 directors. He's like, oh my God. So it's, I don't know what, 4, 5, 6 states away that they knew Flower City Comic-Con, but yet there's people in Rochester that don't know Flower City Comic-Con. So we're trying to make sure that we get the word spread out there, that everyone knows everything that's going on in the area, whether it's Rochester or Wellsboro or anywhere else.
Yeah, we are getting more well known as being a not-for-profit than a Comic-Con.
What's up?
We've had a lot of people coming out and asking. I mean, I've had a lot of people come right out and ask us for the educational grants that we give out now, instead of, hey, what's the Comic-Con? We have to say, yeah, we put on this great show, but it's because we want to give the money away. We want to make sure we're giving educational grants out.
Which is absolutely amazing. I'm a teacher, so I definitely appreciate the effort that you guys put into all of that. It's amazing to be able to say that after all these years, we have people in our community who still care and still want to put back into the community. And honestly, like, some of the biggest people that do that are people who are in art. They love to give back to the community.
Agreed. Yeah. And the people who want to volunteer for us or come back year after year offering to help with things, we have some great personalities that they want to make it better. So the all-inclusiveness of it, we have sign language interpreters, and there's a whole group of them that come in and they use it not just to be there, but they use it to teach. Because of having RIT here, the students get the on hands, the training that they need. So you add a lot of that stuff in, and it's all the same people, same group of people that just want to get together and give back to the community, all while celebrating their fandoms and having fun.
Yeah, definitely. What else makes a local Comic-Con truly local? Like, what is, like, we talked about the local businesses, we talked about all that, but Julian, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to talk about the premise of the advantage of small cons. And one is that we are cooperative. So we'll do social media posts for Flower City and vice versa, and a lot of the other shows in the area, just realizing it's just rising tide, raising all boats. And it's wonderful to be a part of that kind of community, and that sort of stems from our smaller city, or in my case, small town base.
Oh, boy. Ugh. Well, I'll just say hello, everyone. And wow, that piece, Katrina, that's coming out amazing. It's coming out amazing. I love your piece. Wow.
Thank you.
I'm like, look at that. That's what I've been doing, watching you. I'm hearing everybody else. So yeah, I hear you guys speak about. No, it's all good. You're doing amazing. So
You're good.
Don't worry about it. I'm a big fan of art. So, yeah. So you guys are having a Rochester Comic Con is what I'm hearing. I live like more towards the south, like the 5 borough area. So I'm familiar with your neck of the woods. I'm thinking about going next year. I wanted to do the con. I'll get into who I am and all that in a minute. But so you guys are doing it this weekend?
Wellsboro is this weekend.
Okay, Wellsboro is this weekend. Okay, yeah, I gotta get up there with you, Chris. I gotta come up there maybe for Christmas. Is it really snowy up there? You know, I gotta get out of the city. It hasn't snowed in years.
Not right now.
No, not right now. Definitely not. But I'm saying for Christmas it should be, right?
Christmas, usually we get a white Christmas.
Yeah, because
seems like the past few years we haven't though.
All right. Yeah.
Make sure you have snow tires.
Yeah, definitely. Coming up there with my SUV. I'm gonna go my truck. You have to. I don't play around. I've been up in that area, so I know exactly how it is, especially around the winter time. Yeah, you know, like going on that Canadian border. I missed that place. Niagara Falls. Yeah, that was good. Good times. Buffalo, Syracuse. I worked all in that area too. So I work for Hollywood. I do like movies, TV shows. Like, you know, if you see the bands in your towns, they usually come to town sometimes. That's me. I haven't gone up to your neck of the woods in a minute though, so I haven't been up state since like last year. I love that.
That's place. A perfect segue into my next question. What does it take to get the actors to a local Comic-Con? Because like this year, you guys have some pretty big names coming. I'm super stoked for a few of them. But what is that? What really goes into that?
A lot of emails.
A lot of emails, a lot of research, a long list of actors and actresses that are on our wish list. And it is definitely a long process, emailing back and forth. I mean, I think in regards to one agent, for one of the guests, I think I have a string of like 87 plus emails just going back and forth on one string. So,
and this is all volunteer. Completely.
Yes, we are all volunteer.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I think I have like for one of our guests this year, between your emails, my emails, and the phone calls, I think I've logged almost 60 hours.
Oh, wow.
And usually when I'm not getting a response, I send Ann in. She's my assistant type thing. She's got that executive vice president title behind her name. I've got coordinator behind mine. So she's got a little more pull than I do. But no, yeah, it and I'm sure Julian can tell you the same thing, that it for a while we weren't getting any responses back, but after the actor strike last year,
oh my god, yeah,
people were now starting to work, so they were waiting to see what was happening later on, because September is premiere season. So we kind of
we had to wait to figure out who was going to be in the premieres and who was going to be available and who is producing and not producing and who is directing. And it was a lot this year. It was fast paced and fun once we finally got into the meat of it. But in the beginning, it really was. It was tough. We couldn't have a meeting because we don't have any guests. We don't have any answers.
Yeah, I mean, you guys got Malcolm Merlin himself, John Barrowman. Like, that is absolutely amazing. I'm so stoked to meet him. Like, I've always watching Arrow, I absolutely could not stand him. And then seeing all the stuff that I've seen him do through Facebook and all of that, I'm like, okay, I guess he is kind of a nice guy.
Yeah, from what I hear, he's very genuine, very real. I can't wait to meet him and his sister and Kevin Sussman and see Nakia again.
Oh, Nakia, we are not letting you go out with her. Not this time.
No, because last time
it was
I
bad.
remember a lot of Saturday night. But I mean,
did you at least show up for Comic-Con Sunday?
She did, because I drove her.
There you go.
Forever Yellow Year will always be one of my favorite FC3 years, when we had 3 yellow Power Rangers, because those 2 women were the most genuine, kind people I have ever met.
Yes. And the year before, when I was able to take Catherine Sutherland, the Pink Power Ranger, to Niagara Falls Sunday night after the con, they're like, okay, you can leave, take Cat to the falls. I'm like, okay. So
nice.
I stole our box office goddess of Sybil, and the 3 of us road tripped up there. And
that's awesome.
Con stories, the local con stories. Yes. Julian, do you have any really cool ones for you?
Well, I mean, in our first year, we started with Roy Thomas, and so I had to pick him up from Harrisburg, so a 3-hour drive. So I got 6 hours in a group with Roy and his wife, an agent, and very interesting guy, but in some ways very funny too. One of the things I loved is when we were driving back, and it was sunrise through the hills of Pennsylvania, and there was just this gorgeous light on the hills, and he was just chatting about comics with his agent. And I said, "Oh, you guys should check out the hills." And he just looked up for a second and said, "I saw him on the way up." I went back to talking about comic books, so very focused on comics.
A lot over the years, for sure.
I also ended up. My other story was ending up in Rochester at 2 a.m. last year on Friday night, because our actor guest of honor, Charlie Slaughter, had some plane delays, and he couldn't get to Elmira till Saturday evening at 4, and was able to get to Rochester at 2 a.m. So I picked him up, and we got to Wellsboro at 4 a.m. And then I had to be greeting vendors at 6 a.m.
Gotta do what you got to do, right?
You do what you have to do, and was in a bit of a fog last year.
Yeah,
and he was pretty great. I have to say, he's definitely an amazing human being.
Yes, he is.
And so many of the guests are, and they do take it seriously that we are trying to provide a good show, and it's not just that they can get paid a little to come and schmooze for a few minutes, but they really do genuinely enjoy meeting people and hearing stories and telling stories.
Yeah. And they like to surprise guests. 2019, a particular guest. Well, first of all, they all showed up at Tanya's house because I pranked her and took pictures outside.
But 2018, thank you.
That was 2018. Sorry,
yeah.
I was just a volunteer then.
You were a volunteer then, yeah, until Sunday when we decided we were adopting you permanently.
Yeah, and then just to see the guests interacting with some of the ticket holders and how just kind they were, and you see somebody having a panic attack or something, and an actor going over and being like, "It's okay, take a deep breath, calm down, we got this, we're all here together, we're here." There's all those awesome con stories that happen. Sorry, my dog needs me.
You're good.
Sounds like
that are always there. Yeah, she's a great Dane. So there's always those con stories that even our ticket holders will tell us, point out blank, have you seen this person? They were shopping at this booth, or did you see their panel and just how they answered the questions? And those stories are what makes these conventions more fun for us.
Oh, definitely. Because you don't get that at a MegaCon. You have, I got to meet so-and-so. Oh, I saw this. Oh, I went to Hall, whatever. And it's great, but it's not. It's a story in of itself. It's not something that you can continue to say, hey, Like I'll always remember when John walked up to me and was talking with me, and we were just shooting back and forth, and it was just a ton of fun. Obviously, like I loved meeting David Nakayama last year at New York City Comic Con, but when I was talking with him, the world around myself and Mike kind of like fell away. It was like we were just having a conversation, like it was old friends just talking, because he's that down to earth. But then you go to like some of these other booths and they're so worried about selling. They're so worried about making sure that the signature is going well, making sure that this is going right, that they kind of forget where they are in a way and kind of forget why they're there, which is for the fans, for the biggest of the biggest nerds. Like in all honesty, because like I'll admit I'm a huge nerd and I love nerding out with people. But I went over to one artist's booth who I was really excited to meet, and he didn't even look up from the drawing he was doing because he was there to do the drawing. And I'm like, I love the fact that you're that invested, but like at the same time, greet some of the people around you who are buying your stuff. Mm-hmm. And I've never had that issue at a local con. Any of the ones I went to, whether it be Comic Fest that Ken puts on every year, Ken and Mike, Flower City Comic Con. I know people who have went to like Terrificon, so like more of the smaller localer Comic Cons, and they just absolutely talk about how amazing the guests are, or the people who are there to sell stuff or to greet people and all that. And it's fun to hear those stories because I feel like you never get that from people who go to the MegaCons.
Yeah. So can I say something?
Go ahead.
Tomorrow will be officially my first show. It's a con, kind of. It's called what is it called? Geek Out Staten Island and Snug Harbor. It's in Snug Harbor, Staten Island. So I got all my stuff done. I was just been working all day, getting everything ready for the comic. So I'll show you guys because you guys are new. So I don't know if you ever saw my comic. So
Mike's actually a creator. He's on book 2 right now.
That is my company logo. This is a piece. This is my character Einstein. And this is a piece I had Will Torres do for me. So this is prints I'm gonna have tomorrow. But my name of my company is Symbioverse Comics. This is my first comic I made, manga comic called Symbiotic. Book 1, the Book of Einstein. That's the back cover. And now I just got done with book 2, the Book of Faust. So this is pretty much like I've been writing the story for a couple of years and I've been doing the art. I got the 2 books done so far. I'm hoping by the end of this year we're gonna have book 3 out. This is my first con I'm gonna be going to tomorrow. So I'm very what's good about me. Yeah, thank you. What's good about me though is that I'm actually really like down to earth and friendly. So I'm very easy to approach. Like, my best con experience was probably last year, Chris, because we were tearing up the Comic Con. Oh my god, like we were just all over the place because I have friends everywhere in the industry, from like the cops to the actors to the unions. Like I know everyone. We walked into Comic Con, it was just like, come on in. So, and I'm like selling my comics there, and I'm talking to people, I'm doing interviews, people are remarking my stuff, I'm talking to famous artists. Like, it's just another Tuesday for me. I'm just running around chilling. But I'm very excited about this because I've been working so busy, like trying to get more product together and just trying to organize myself. It's taking a little longer than I thought, but it's all good though, because now I'm just gonna go flow for a couple hours tomorrow, and just this is why I'm gonna be at Snug Harbor tomorrow. If you guys live out in Staten Island and you want to come check me out, I'll be having these books there because, like I said, this is what it's all about. I love doing this stuff, and any questions you guys got, I'm all here and all ears. So,
Chris, did you get our comic book last year?
I did.
Okay, so book 2 will be out this year as well.
Okay.
So book 2, everybody who walks in to our convention this year will get book 2. Ken and I are working on it now.
Nice.
And Empire Comic Fest has joined FC3 this year. So they will have their own area within FC3 with a lot more comic vendors, and we have more comic artists and stuff coming as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, like I said, I love the stuff that you guys do. I love the stuff that Ken and Mike do. It's so personable, genuinely. Like, you can walk in and you're walking into this gigantic space that's
it's 127,000 square feet.
Yeah, you're
Nice.
right. But it's a soccer field. Like it shouldn't work as a Comic-Con, but like you don't feel that it's a soccer field when you go and you walk through there. It feels so like it feels like an amazing like you feel like you're at home in a way because it's so much fun. There's so much to do. It's genuinely one of the best experiences I could ever I've ever had, and one of the best ones that I could tell someone else about, because it feels like home. It feels a way that you just know, like, hey, this year it's going to be awesome. It's coming up. I'm excited for it. I talk with my students about it. I actually saw a couple of my students there last year. They're like, we didn't know it was this big. And they were just excited as could be to be there. It was amazing.
Well, we thank you for that. We hear that a lot, actually, that it feels very positive, very uplifting. That feels like a positive vibration in the whole building, and it's awesome. Yeah. And it's great because we like it too. We are bigger this year as we are more outside, but it's going to be fun.
Julian, where do you guys put yours on?
So we have a performing arts center in the center of town, but I should give everyone an idea of the scale and the scope. We are in a town of 3,400 people. So downtown is 3 blocks long.
Okay.
I moved in the Boston area and always lived in big cities. But my family and I stopped in Wellsboro because the arts were clearly so strong in good schools. So we have this performing arts center and an outdoor stage on a little green. Catty corner to that is the Warehouse Theater. So there's also a little warehouse gallery and then 100 person theater there, and then we block off the street outside that, and so it's very much a town festival. And I like to say classic comic creativity wrapped in retro rural charm.
Oh man, you're gonna make me go up there and buy a house now. I'm telling you, I'm looking for a new house. This sounds like the place I need to go.
All I'm picturing right now is Stars Hollow Gilmore Girls.
Well, actually, I've been to Wellsboro. It's very similar, except the coffee house doesn't have cool people in it.
Okay.
Yeah, gas lamp. Yeah. Sorry, we have gas lamps lining the main street, and so back cool. To Roy Thomas. When we drove in at 9 o'clock on a Friday night, the show was starting Saturday. Basically, you have an hour driving through the hills where you don't see anything or anyone. And then you hit the diner and the light and you turn onto Main Street with its gas lamps and people wandering around outside the restaurants. His comment was, it's like the Twilight Zone. Where did these people come from? Like out of the fog, suddenly just this lovely town. So one of the things we can do, and I was going to say, even with Flower City, the context that you're in is so different from getting to the Javits Center in New York. And there's just this different experience when you sort of drive up and you realize you're just within this community. So it gives you a much more homey sense. We also try to tie in activities throughout the town. So in year 1, for instance, we walked 3 blocks with 60 cosplayers and took pictures of, there are some outdoor phone booths on the way. So we have 60 people lined up waiting to get into the phone booth, one of which has a Tyrannosaurus Rex and one a manga character. And then we went to the park. And so we have all of these amazing photo ops on the seesaw and the slides, and it's just not something you could replicate in a big city con.
True.
Yeah, definitely.
Agreed.
Definitely. Yeah, I love when I'm upstate working. It's so beautiful up there. I'm telling you, like every time I'm up there, I'm just thinking, like, I just got so. I mean, the houses are so expensive out here. I could probably sell this house and get 2 of them out there. I'm telling you. But I'm thinking I may want to move because I'm just sick of this. Like, I'm semi-retired and I can do my comics from anywhere. I would love to do your con, Julian, because that sounds something like that's right up my alley. When do you guys put on your show?
In 7 hours.
In 7 hours.
I'm surprised we're still up right now.
No rush.
So if you check wellsborocomiccon.com or just do a Google search, Wellsboro Comic, it'll come right up.
Are you on IG? I'm gonna follow you if you are.
Small
presence. Because I'm gonna
small
see
presence.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I can send it.
Sorry, small. We have a small presence on Instagram, but we have a full website and a lot of Facebook activity, and
all right,
it's easy to find us.
Yeah, Chris is gonna hook me up anyway. He knows I'm technically crappy when it comes to tech, but
I'm so glad that I messaged you guys today because I knew that I was gonna have Ann on, and then Tanya was able to join us, and I was just like, Wellsboro is coming up soon, and then I look at the thing yesterday. I was like, oh my god, it's in 2 days. I wonder if I can get them on to talk about it right before it happens.
Yeah. Well, here I am, and it's the first year we're able to make it a free event. So there's
awesome.
No ticket required. So we're very inclusive, and I can't tell you how excited I am to first sleep and then get there and finish putting up signs and get started in the morning.
So
you're a con director. Sleep is overrated.
That is a fact.
It is overrated.
You're going to be awake from Thursday at 9 a.m. until Sunday at midnight.
I don't know what possessed us to go 3 days this year, but I am not prepared for 4 days of no sleep. But
I saw that. What did make you guys want to do Friday night?
2 full days in 4 hours.
Yeah, because we've been asked before, and we've tried to do some soft launches in the past, but we have a great, amazing cosplayer that has joined us in a lot of things this year, Melanie Muses, and she has all these fabulous ideas, and we're going to be playing cosplay, Let's Make a Deal, so that everybody who comes, and we have lots of prizes. We have a lot of autographs and autographed items and stuff from years past that we're giving away and prizes. We're doing a one-shot D&D that's going to run for about 2.5 to 3 hours. And then there's going to be like cosplay dance party and a cosplay karaoke. And with this, as much as we've grown the last few years, we wanted to give the cosplayers a chance to have a third or a fourth outfit if they wanted to. Because of the cosplay contest, the adult one on Saturday and the kids one on Sunday, we felt let's give them another chance to throw another cosplay on and have fun. So why not? And we're having a hobby horse show on Sunday before the kids cosplay. So I'm really excited to see what this is going to look like.
I've seen Hobby Horse on Instagram, and I've been very interested in what made people want to get into that. Then I saw one where this girl jumped like higher than where her head was. And I was like, that's absolutely amazing. She should be in the Olympics. Like, how?
My daughter is a horse girl, so I know fully well about the horses. But the hobby horse one, like, it's been really hard to find judges who can say that they can watch it with a straight face and actually judge the dressage area with a straight face. But it's going to be amazing to watch and see, and I just think it's going to be fun and just another experience.
Yeah.
There's also rumors that there's like inflatable costume races or obstacle course or something along those lines. It's not official yet, but our cosplayer extraordinaire has a gazillion inflatable costumes.
Don't forget, you can always, just do archery with the stormtroopers, with the Boy Scouts.
Yes, because the stormtroopers will miss.
Every time. You will always win.
Well, all of our security red shirts will fall down.
Have you ever tried to look out of a stormtrooper helmet? You'll know why they miss.
Yeah. Well.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's going to be a lot of work, but it's worth every bit of it. And I'm sure Julian will say the same, that at the end of the weekend, when you watch everybody leaving with their bags full of goodies and the smiles on their faces and the kids falling asleep in the strollers, that you have succeeded in another year
did your
of an
job.
adventure. Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Great.
my wife and I went Saturday with the kids, and then we went back on Sunday, just the two of us, to kind of interview with people, talk to people. And honestly, by the end of Saturday, the kids did not want to go back Sunday. They were exhausted. They were like, it's okay. Like, and my grandmother and my dad came with us this year, so that way they could kind of watch the kids while we were talking with some of the authors and whatnot on Saturday. But my kids were exhausted. They have never slept in until 8 o'clock, but you send them off to Comic-Con and they sleep in until 8 o'clock. I'm like, sweet. Comic-Con should be every weekend, in my opinion. But
That's what you do. You just keep making them more.
We all take off
Honestly.
an extra day just to sleep after. Really, I do. I know Tanya doesn't. Tanya's a teacher, so she can't do that.
Okay.
And I am personal day on Friday and a sick day on Monday.
There you
I'm like going. I should have taken a second day off, returning on that Monday, Tuesday, because yes, you're exhausted. I mean,
To say it's not just the kids either that react so well. As I was leaving the convention at the end, or as it was closing up last year, I walked by a gentleman who was telling his friend that his wife was pregnant and would be due on so and so. Therefore, my costume next year will be me with my daughter, who will at that point be 4 months old. I was just blown
That's awesome.
away at this sort of planning his unborn daughter's first Comic-Con
You got it.
experience.
So
Nice. There you go.
when does the planning for next year start? Monday morning, Tuesday morning?
now
We are already planning for next year. Actually, just
Okay.
booked for next year. I think. Yeah.
yeah.
So
we have the dates already almost locked in. We know what the dates
Okay.
are going to be. We're waiting for Ann to sign the contract. We have guests that are
Ann.
interested in coming next year because they couldn't come this year.
Okay.
So that
Same
yes,
here.
things happened, and they're in a TV show the weekend. They're filming the weekend of September 13th, 14th, and 15th. So
Yeah.
we couldn't have them. Or as Ann said, one's producing a show, so couldn't have him. So
yeah, we'll just
So when you guys go ahead.
it's not just the planning of that. It's once we get through this weekend, once we get through our convention weekend, we still have other events going on as well, because we partner with a lot of the local organizations like the Rochester Red Wings. We work with them. RMSC, which is the Rochester Museum and Science Center, we do events with them. We
Okay.
are definitely out in the community, and then we'll be going into the Rochester Children's Book Festival, because we give them some grant money so that they can give books to the Rochester City School District, so every child gets books plus
Very cool.
author visits. So we're not just a one weekend and done. It's a lot of community involvement for us for the whole year.
I believe it. Like I said, every time I bring up, I'm going to Flower City Comic-Con, everyone in Rochester is like, oh yeah, they've done this or they've done that. So yeah, it's definitely it's a year-round thing, and I can imagine. One of the things that I always remember, I was watching something about a car race, the Le Mans 24 Hours, and they asked, like, when do you start planning for next year? It's like, we already are. Like, even while this one's going on,
Yeah.
we're planning, and we're trying to make sure that we're already ready for next year, because you never know what's going to happen in 365 days. So with all that being said, what then goes in, like, what do you guys do for a guest? So like John Barrowman's coming this year. What goes into that? Like, do you guys have to offer certain perks? Are you allowed to talk about that? Like, if you're not, no worries. But just curious.
There's certain things like that we do to bring in a guest, of course, like travel, hotel, that type of stuff. I know for me personally, I always ask the agents, do they have any dietary requirements or preferences because we want to make sure that we aren't going to inadvertently give them an allergic reaction to something.
Yeah.
So, but I've heard through the grapevine that there's a certain type of chocolate that Carol and John love, or candy that comes out of like Scotland or England. So we're trying to get our hands on that particular type thing. But from what we hear is John has a tendency to go in and take all the good ones out before Carol can get to them. So we're going to take all the good ones out and make sure they're in Carol's box and then give him the rest. So it's that type of stuff that, I mean, do we know exactly all their likes, dislikes, perks, things like that? Are they asking for 24-hour concierge service or Perrier water, things like that?
Oh, we had one for Perrier last year.
But it's something that we ask, what would you like to have to drink at the con? Or
And he didn't answer us.
I'm a
until the day
Pellegrino
of.
kind of guy, just letting you know.
What was it? Someone who worked for Disney in the past?
No, it wasn't. But he was so unbelievably gracious. I could not find Perrier anywhere. Even like Wegmans didn't have it.
I was gonna say, I don't see that very often anymore.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, no. So then he said he will take any sparkling water. And then this person, it's Joseph Marcel. He was an absolute amazing gentleman. I bought him sparkling water, but I bought him very large bottles of sparkling water. And then he said he didn't want to open them because he'd feel bad if he only drank half of it and it went flat. Like, he was that much of an absolute gentleman. He was so sweet.
That's awesome.
He did the Carlton last year.
We
that was
had
amazing.
we had one requirement of a jalapeno Domino's pizza.
Oh.
Okay.
And
There's Domino's there?
Nice.
no. So I have to explain. I don't think you understand that Wellsboro is a town of 3,400 people. There's a Domino's 50 minutes away. And so we have
They don't deliver that
three
far?
pizzerias.
We offer everybody a garbage plate. We have very little people that will take us up on it. But
First year.
Yeah. A garbage plate. You know what a garbage plate is?
No, what is that?
It's a Rochester staple. So it's like a container with macaroni salad, beans or French fries and hash browns, covered in either 2 hot dogs or 2 hamburgers or cheeseburgers, covered in onions or chicken fingers. Yeah, covered in onions, mustard, and meat hot sauce, served with bread and butter.
All
So it's a bunch of
piled
garbage.
onto each other.
Yes, it all touches. Oh,
I'll want that when I get there.
I can't do it.
Perrier water. No, I'll
want
take
that.
Pellegrino.
But
want
to have Power Rangers eating
Nice.
a garbage plate
Send me
on
that.
Sunday in the green
Nice.
room 2 hours before they're on a flight.
probably was not a good
Nice.
idea.
That was
Go
probably not the
Power
best
Rangers.
idea.
Is that they were all yellow? Is that why they were all yellow Power Rangers?
No, that was the first
What up,
year,
Alex?
but it was Karen Ashley, the yellow Power Ranger. It was Walter Jones, the black Power
Okay.
Ranger. Then the following year, Austin St. John had one. Then the year after is when Ann sent
Koski.
Michael Koski, Greg French, and Josh Herdman from Harry Potter out for
Okay.
garbage plates, but they ended up in front of my house taking a selfie and sending it to me while we're at the convention.
Have
Because
you
either
ever
their Lyft
tried?
driver or their Uber driver take them there first.
Have
It was
you
like
ever
6
tried to get the
o'clock at
Nick
night.
Tahoe's food truck to come to Flower City?
No, they're really hard to find. And when we
Okay.
when we ask for food trucks, unfortunately, our venue handles all of our food trucks,
Okay.
and they
Yeah, it
won't
does.
commit to 2 days. So, and this year we needed commitment for 3 days. So we have some that are 3
Friday
days
night.
and some that are 2 days. Yeah.
That's awesome, though.
So
Yeah.
I will say, if you noticed, you were asked about what it takes to get people to come, and we immediately talked about these personal interactions with people, and that's probably why the guests, when they come to a small con, are in a better mood and a really good mood, and not just concerned about recouping their investment to be there, it's definitely a much more interactive process. Although, to get back to the nuts and bolts, there are some people that you will pay X number of dollars and they're sort of at your service to do what you want, whatever you need them to do in terms of panels or photographs, etc. So if they make a certain amount of money, we're just covering their travel.
Okay.
And then people who are not as well established in the industry, you may have to guarantee that you just covering that they're not losing money, or the hotel and food. And then it's up to them to make the best of it. And in some cases, one of the things we're offering is a trip to Niagara Falls or the Grand Canyon of Pennsylvania or a dark sky park, and a nice long weekend. It's kind of a working weekend because they'll have 1 to 3 days of at the con being on duty. But it's just a different vibe if you're offering that.
Kat, that's looking amazing. And Alex actually said that artwork looks absolutely incredible.
Oh yeah, it definitely does.
So Kat, that's a commission that you're doing for a client?
Yes, it's a commission. As a matter of fact, when this is done, I have another one to do, but not in black and white. It'll be in color.
Nice.
But yeah.
Do you have a website I can go to? Sorry, I shouldn't even be asking because I have so much original artwork as it is.
So do I.
You just gotta trade them out every so often. That way they don't get jealous of each other.
My husband buys me the same size, and he says I just have to keep moving them around. And
see,
yeah,
you need one of those shadow boxes that you can just keep putting it in front of it. Like the kids' art displays.
There you go.
Yeah,
frames that you can just start filling.
Yeah. So it'd have to be
Sorry
8 inches thick now.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
And I apologize for my dog.
Good.
Yeah, he's very attached to me. Anyway, so yeah, he's behind the door. That's why he's mad. Scruffy, stop. Sorry. So my husband is the one who got me into starting doing the comic book covers, and it was all by chance. He's a big comic book guy, and he's been a collector for I want to say at least 50 years.
Yeah.
So he goes, why don't you, you're always painting, why don't you paint a rare cover? And I did a double cover, and that sat in my basement for about 3 years. At that time, all we had was eBay, so it went nowhere. Scruffy. And oh my goodness. I am so sorry.
It's okay.
And anyway, long story short, we had gotten into Instagram. He started selling off his collection. The painting sold immediately.
Wow.
After that, I started getting requests, and I've been painting back-to-back cover requests for the past 6 years now.
Nice. That's
so
good.
and we try to pick out very rare books if I'm doing covers. And the double cover ones that I have on my Instagram, there's only one more that's being done, and that's going to be the Mask 1 and 2.
Okay.
It's a series of 3. And that's the very last double cover I'm doing. Because of the size, it is very expensive to ship.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
But
That
these are 30 by 24, so I'm able to throw them through the post office and nice and cheaply delivered.
Nice.
And how much do you charge for a commission that size? Just out of curiosity.
So most of my commissions start around 600. It really depends. I did Melty Face last time. He was about $800 to $900.
Okay.
So I've sold some that are $1,500. It really depends on the detail. It depends on the size that you want. And basically that's it, really. I mean, those are the only cost factors to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, because for painting, I mean, that is some fine detail that's in that
Yeah, it's
painting behind
this
you.
one. This one's not that bad. Actually, this is just
Okay.
like an easy one for me.
But like
It's
if I
been-
saw that from afar, that to me that looks like a Sharpie or
Yeah.
like pen. Like that's how amazing it looks,
Thank you.
because it's very fine to me. I'm not an artist by any sense of the word, but to me that's very fine detail.
It
And just
is.
like the bracelet and stuff like that, and getting the shading right and the color, like the level of the black right. Like it
Well,
looks amazing.
I will tell you that he wanted this antiqued. So that's
Okay.
why it's an ivory, and the base is not black. It's a brown black mix
Okay.
that I made myself. So it'll have a black border on it. But don't think that we don't make mistakes. Because there's plenty of times I'll have to go, oh no, and just change it all up.
You know, it's
But,
funny. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's creative. It's relaxing for me and
Yeah.
enjoyable. But as far as my knowledge on comic books, it's very minimal. I am so
Oh, good.
sorry about that.
You're good.
My husband is the actual expert. He's done shows. He's gone to Comic Cons. He's done everything under the sun. And I'm a follower.
It's okay. My husband is definitely way more of an expert than I am, that I even claim to be. So yeah, he's yeah, he knows way more than I'll ever forget. So
Yeah. Yeah, like it's just crazy. My husband can rattle off, oh, that book is from 19 whatever, and it was made in da 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 publishing, and he's the artist, and this is this, and I'm like, and he even knows how many copies are out there. So
Whoa.
it's just like crazy to
Well,
me.
how
the
does he
knowledge
keep
that he
inventory on his
has.
comics? What app does he use? Does he use Collector Z or a different comic book one?
No, you know what he uses? His own little thing in the basement with boxes and
Oh, wow.
marker all over the boxes.
Yep,
If
that's
I
how
ever had
do
to
it.
find something,
I
I
don't
would never find
categorize
it.
myself. Yeah.
He knows exactly where everything is. It's crazy to me.
Wow.
It's just
Yeah,
crazy.
we don't know where anything is.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you how he does it.
You know,
But
my
he has
husband
it
doesn't
all
know
in
where
his head.
anything is either, just because
No.
the boxes are just, they come in and I go through them and then they just get stacked up. So
We
Yeah,
gotta do a lot of
no.
scanning.
No,
yeah,
see,
yeah.
I take the package, I put it over there for him, and he just does his little thing. He's
Tanya, how many did we guess we had here now?
Like 30 plus thousand.
Yeah.
wow.
You know,
Yeah.
1,000 books is a library.
Ooh, but we
Well-
have 30 or 40 of
Oh.
them now.
So,
There you
so
go.
can you see
We-
what's behind me?
I was
Yeah,
gonna
you
say
got a
my
whole
wife
library.
my wife has, if she was sitting in her chair and we were filming over there, that's pretty much what she's got. She's 4 of those like Target 6-tier shelves. She's got 4 of those almost completely full.
Nice.
You see
My
my china
husband-
cabinet? This is
Those
one
are-
of my china cabinets. It's completely full of G.I. Joe.
Oh my
Nice.
These ones are all Dungeons and Dragons books.
Wow.
Wow.
I
That's awesome.
Pathfinder, D&D, first edition, second edition, third edition, Star Wars. You
Full
name-
redundancy of each one of them.
my husband believes in redundancy. Yes.
Hey, you got
Every so often he'll go and take a few books and sell them and make a car payment.
Well, hey,
So-
it works.
hey, as long as you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah.
I'm
and
gonna
We've
so
been
start doing that to
doing-
pay for
we've been-
college.
that's
Yeah.
my piece.
Exactly. So
Nice.
because my husband is up there in years, and so am I. I'm not saying I'm not either, but he at one time had 40,000 books, and that I counted. He kept saying, "No, there's not." I said, oh yes, there is. But anyway,
Denial.
yeah. Oh no,
It's not just
it's nowhere
River
near that. But we did start auctioning them off for the last 2 years. It's been, like you said, it helps pay the bills. And you know, he's got a lot of old stuff, and he takes care of it, presses it, slabs it, whatever it's got to be, and that's where we're at.
What is your husband's name and phone number? I got
Some people have a 401k, other people have comic books.
Yes.
It is what it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Just message me and I'll give it to you.
So in our life is my husband is a dairy farmer. So
Ah.
and we find a lot of that here in at least in like this industry is you couldn't go out and do normal things when you're working 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you would get DVDs and watch the Marvel, all that
Yes.
stuff on DVD, the anime.
Yes.
You got comic books and books via the mail because you could still read them in your own time and
Right.
it wasn't dependent upon everything. So
Yeah.
you see a lot of those collectors that do that
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
So
You're right.
that's what we like here at least.
Yeah.
My tattoo artist lives out in Hamlin, which is, if for those of you guys who don't know, that's about half an hour away.
It's
from
like 15 from me.
Yeah, it's
Half
like half
hour
an hour
from
away
where?
from the city,
From
from
Rochester.
Rochester, the city of Rochester, and he drives every single week half an hour just to pick up his comic books from Chet over at Rhino's Comics.
Yeah.
And I was
Rhino's,
like,
yep.
why don't you just find a comic book shop closer? Because there's one right up in Brockport, which is only like a 10-minute drive. And he goes, because Chet's the best. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, he is. But like, I don't know that I'd be driving half an hour to get books that I'd be getting like the same book from here that are coming out every week. And he
Do
goes, you know, in all
anything for your
honesty, I just
fix.
love
Oh, my
supporting Chet.
husband would.
Yeah,
My
Yeah, well,
Like,
the
husband would
comic
in a
shop in
heartbeat.
Brockport does not carry a lot of the new books anymore. He stopped
Exactly.
getting a lot of the
Yep.
new stuff. So it's like Rhino's, First Print, Comics, etc.,
Yep.
13th Verse, and Two
All
Kings.
Heroes.
All Heroes. Yep, they're the
Yep.
only comic book shops around here, and I say only because we're actually blessed in a community
Oh,
like
yeah.
ours to have that many comic shops. Because you look at some of even the bigger cities, they'll have one shop for a big city. So the fact
Mhm.
that we do have so many is awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and that's one of my trivias for Kevin Sussman. Before he was an actor, he worked as a comic shop employee in New York City.
That's awesome.
So he
I did not
really
know
does
that.
know his comic books. Yeah, that's how he was so good on The Big Bang Theory. He pulled
Wow.
all of that stuff out of his head, not from the writers.
That's amazing.
Nice.
That's
See, that's
crazy.
good. That's authenticism. I like that.
Yeah.
That's authentic nerdicism. I love it a lot.
Mhm.
You know, you got to get nerdy.
I'm a little slow to chime in because the sound is a little delayed at times,
You're good.
but I
Oh,
just
good.
want to throw in a story just because having that guy who knows and who knows you makes all the difference. One of my friends, a regular who goes to Heroes my mom threw out up in Elmira, and Jared is another one of those guys that people say he's the best. But my one friend Dana he came to me one week and said, here's Walking Dead #1. Try this. I think you'll like it.
Oh, nice.
And so he took it home and read it. Now, the story ends with Dana saying, I brought it back the next week and said, sorry, Jared, zombies are not really my thing.
Oh,
So
boy.
he returned. He brought back the Walking Dead number,
Oh my God, that book's worth like $3,000.
but
Yeah.
that's the kind of service that people will drive for, and
Yeah.
what
For sure.
warms our hearts.
Yeah.
And when you have a comic shop that you really believe and trust in that you want to work with, you can
Definitely.
call them and be like, I can't come in this week. The snow is really bad. You know, like for us, we send ours in 2 months ahead of time, and they just pull them and have them ready for me. And Chat has that too, but a lot of the shops do that now. But we could get 8 inches of snow and you don't want to travel.
Yeah.
And I know I can call my comic shop and be like, hey, I'm coming in next week. But he also knows I only come in once every other week anyway. But when
Or
you
every
know
3
and you
weeks.
work with, or every once a month, whatever. But but you know when you work with certain comic shops and you get to know these people that they'll do this for you. I've called Chat before and been like, hey, my shop didn't have this. Can you have one? Do you have one? And he'll pull it for me, and I can go over and see Ken and pick it up.
Exactly. And again, we like in Rochester, we are blessed. There's, I want to say, 8 comic shops 6 of them, like you mentioned, all have new issues, and
Comic book heaven.
They sell out of new issues at almost every single shop, especially when it's a hot issue. It's crazy to me how like big comics are in Rochester, which I didn't know until I started going to Chet's about 7 years ago when he opened. And like all of this here is because of Chet. There's some books that I've bought that haven't been through him, but 90% of my collection is through him, through stuff that I've done with him or things that he's introduced me to, like Flower City Comic Con. Just getting out there and starting my Amazing Spider-Man collection. I still joke with my wife, and she jokes with me that taking me to Chet's was the most expensive $15 that her and I have ever spent. Because it all started with Amazing Spider-Man 800. That's where I got into it. And I grew up loving Spider-Man. Like, he was my go-to guy.
Which cover? Was it the Doc Ock cover or was it the Green Goblin
cover? It was the Del Auto cover.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I laugh because that's a great cover.
Yeah, and I mean, I bought that, and that was a $15 cover. The next time I went in there, I bought another. It was like 4, kind of like an encyclopedia of Spider-Man that my wife picked up for me. And just like getting to know local comic shops around you is amazing. Because anytime I go somewhere, I'm always looking up on Google, where's the nearest comic shop? And then the crappy part about that is I'm constantly comparing it to Chet. I'm constantly comparing it to All Heroes. I'm constantly comparing it to comics, etc. And being like, wow, there's no back issues here. There's not a whole lot of like camaraderie here. But like we are truly blessed in Rochester to have that.
Yeah. Yeah. My husband started as a kid getting comics, and then when Empire Comics closed, he bought out what they had left.
Nice.
Wow.
And then 8 years ago, we went to, remember when the Ronald McDonald House used to have those huge sales?
No.
Well, they used to have these huge house goods sales and whatever. Well, they were donated a collection of, I think it was 37 short boxes and like 5 or 6 long boxes.
Oh,
we bought that collection as well.
Oh, good.
Nice.
So, and then we have a pull list of about 120 a month. And then we do maybe 30 Kickstarters a month.
Okay.
Nice.
Just 30? It seems like a heck of a lot more.
Does feel like a heck of a lot more.
I was going to say, is Wade in bed? So
yes, he's in bed. He gets up at like 4:30.
It seems that we're opening a gazillion boxes of Kickstarters every so many weeks.
Every other week when we do comic checks, we open comic books and we open the boxes.
What did Wade order now?
Yeah, basically that's what it's turned into. But yeah, board games, Kickstarter games, sometimes it's video games, comic books.
Very cool.
Yeah, but when you're a collector, and any of you guys can say this because you guys are all collectors, whether you want to or not, you have comic books and art. When you're a collector and you are doing what you love and you're getting that stuff and it makes your heart happy and you're not spending that money on things that are bad.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, so.
Listen, comics are drugs. Let's just say it like that.
True.
This is what I always tell
That's my drug. That's my drug of choice.
There's a TikTok audio out there that's like, well, this could be drugs. So I mean,
it could be.
Mine's dice.
Yeah. Yours is dice, Tanya, right?
Mine's dice and Grogu. So
okay.
It's a dopamine thing.
Yeah. I tell all my friends with kids, you could buy your kids an easy reader book that they're going to read once, and it's going to have 30 to 40 new words in it.
Yep.
Or you can buy them a comic book. They may read it a dozen times, and it's going to have over 300 words in it. Most of them new and action words that they're going to learn through seeing in those books and seeing in those pictures, actions. And they always have that little bit of a parable in them in the end that you're going to choose what to do that is good and not evil. So
my daughter is a huge Spidey fan. Actually, I don't know how well you can see it, but this tattoo right here is for her.
Nice. That is bad.
And she's 3 years old. absolute hellion. She is an amazing person. She wants to be a gymnast like Simone Biles. Like she is all over the place and has big dreams for a 3-year-old. But
Good for her.
To say the least, she absolutely loves her comic book from Free Comic Book Day.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Spidey and His Amazing Friends comic book. And this thing,
I
there's
love
no
that one.
cover left. There's like 2 pages missing right now. And I mean, it's been very well read. And for the longest time, I want to say from when we got it in May, probably till about July, it was the only book we were reading every single night. And I mean, I could recite it by heart at one point. But she absolutely loved it because it has multiple stories in it. It's got her favorite characters. She knows the characters' first names and last names. Also, their superhero identity, like everything. And she's always learning something new. And you don't get that from a picture book. Like, yes, you get the pictures, you get the colors, you get all of that. But like you're saying, the words that are in comic books, and as a teacher, the fact that comic books typically have 10 to 20 words that we hardly ever see is amazing. And like I just finished writing my own book for teachers, in fact, about like why we need to kind of like feed into our kids and feed into their nerdy side, because a lot of Gen Z kids and a lot of Gen Alpha kids are way nerdier than generations of the past. They have really grown up in the nerd stuff because Gen X and the millennials really have, like, they're so nostalgic for all that nerdy stuff. So they've put that on their kids, and now their kids are consistently involved in video games, D&D, comic books style, anime, all that stuff. So being able to get into that and dial into that as a teacher is amazing, because before any learning can happen, kids have to trust you.
Yep.
And in order for them to trust you, you have to build those relationships.
Yeah, I will say this much about the kid thing. You're right about that, because I'm a Gen Xer and my daughter, I don't know, 95. What did that make her? Millennial, I guess?
Millennial.
Or, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, so she's a millennial. And I do remember, like, she was going through my collection when she was younger. I let her play with it sometimes. Like, I didn't let her touch the expensive books, but she got to experience it, and respect that she was growing up to the point that she literally became an artist because of that. And she started to really vibe with the things that I like, because she was like, "This is so cool." I'm like, "Yeah, you guys are just discovering this, but we've been rocking like this since the 70s, at least on my end. I've been collecting since I was a child." I mean, I know I don't look that old, but yeah, I've been collecting since I was about 7, and I've literally been buying comics nonstop since then. Like, every time I had a little job, I remember when I was a little kid, I go to grocery stores, pack a couple of bags, walk the old ladies with her bag to the car, get tips, and then I would just, I would just make my own money, and I just go buy my own comics. I would just all the time, 35 cents, 25 cents. That's when they were that cheap, I remember. I mean, I have so much stuff. I'm looking around here, like a lot of my stuff from all my collection about maybe 6 years ago, I started to CGC most of the old stuff. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't think anyone should CGC anything at this point. It doesn't matter at this point. But back then, I mean, but the things I do have, is good to get them registered at least, under the corporation. I'm able to pull all of my assets. And I actually did that. My whole lifetime collection, I pull in it now as my asset into my corporation, which is a good thing too, because I can use that to raise revenue and stuff. I already have, because I had, when I was doing my LLC, I gave a list, and when I was doing all my taxes, I gave a list of all my assets. And I started going through all the books I had, and I didn't realize. I was like, wow, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, you don't realize over time, because I just never stopped. I mean, even if
you don't realize you have 40,000 books until your wife goes through them 50 years
no
later.
Kidding. You don't realize it until you move from an apartment into a house, and there's like 200 long boxes coming with you.
Yeah, mine's when I can't walk on my sun porch anymore.
Oh my gosh.
I just put it in the store. I
built an entire comic room, and I tried to straighten out my collection, and it's just like, You can't even walk in there anymore. It's literally like you take one step in and you're surrounded by an entire room full of comics, and you can't really go anywhere. Yeah, it's that much. I don't know if I have 40,000. I gotta say I have at least. I'm gonna say maybe 10 to 20,000. Honestly, maybe 15 to 20,000. I mean, I never counted them, but I know I have like about, I don't know, 40 long boxes, hundreds of short boxes, CGC boxes. I just got like, I'm a comic hoarder. I love it. You know,
I'm a comic hoarder.
I love
You know,
it.
you
I
have
just
a
hoard my
problem
comics.
when you become a director. Yeah. Well, those are right, Tanya. You have a problem when you become a director of a Comic-Con.
I don't have.
Oh my gosh.
I hope I have that problem
So-
one day. I want that problem. Believe me.
The problem I
finish
have is
up,
I
'cause
don't
it
have enough
is-
Grogu's.
There you go. To finish up, it is getting kind of late. Is there anything you guys want to add before we sign off here?
We
I
want
think-
Julian good luck tomorrow.
Yeah,
I
good luck.
just wanted
Thank
to
you.
say you guys are awesome, and I am new to all this with the Comic Cons, and I want to say that what you're doing is amazing. It's just amazing.
Nice.
It's so nice to hear that you even go above and beyond for the deaf. And
Yep.
that means a lot to me because my granddaughter is 100% deaf, and she's so ripped off out of life, and to know that something like this exists for the families and kids is just amazing. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Yeah, definitely. That's nice. Wow.
I just look forward to seeing you all in person in various places.
Thanks
Definitely.
for having me.
Well, Julian, if you come out to FC3 this year, you stop and see us. Ask for me or Tanya. Find us.
I absolutely will.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. He's starting again.
You're good,
It's
Kat.
okay.
Scruffy, go to bed.
I forgot to. I wanted to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna say one more thing, and I'll shut my mic off so you don't hear him.
Okay.
But if you guys wanted to contact me, it's Katrina Daniels _I _arted ARTED.
All right.
And
the way you
yes,
guys
that
got it,
name-
No problem.
That name came from my kids.
Well, thank you.
Who are
I
grown,
appreciate
they're
that.
all grown up and have their own kids, but they're the ones that came up with that. But
That's
thank you
awesome.
for
Now.
having me.
Of course.
Have a
Kat,
good
anytime.
night. Thank you.
Anne and Tanya, is there anything you guys wanted to add before we sign off?
I'm wishing Julian the best of luck, and hopefully he can get some sleep. And I am ready to crash myself. It's been a long week. I've been teaching summer school, so
And we hope to see everybody in September. And we listen to all the feedback you give us. Let us know, and we do listen. And if we can't make it better the next year, we keep trying. So
I've been every year for the past, I want to say 4 years. And honestly, the biggest feedback that I had for you guys, and I'm sure when I go to Wellsboro it'll be the same. Keep it up. Keep up the great work, because you guys are absolutely amazing. There's a guy that works at Triano's Meat Market.
yeah.
And every single time I go in there, we're always talking about Comic-Con and how excited we are for it. As soon as Comic-Con's over and I'm in there the next time, he's like, "Did you see this? Did you see that?" I was like, "Yeah, and I got art from so and so." Like I still wear my my Flower City Comic-Con bracelet every single day. Like,
yeah.
It's one of those things.
New ones are in.
I'm
We're
excited. My kids love them. They love being able to walk out with something at the end of the weekend, whether it be just a bracelet or a Beanie Baby from one of the vendors. Like they love doing that kind of stuff. So keep up the great work. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I appreciate everything you guys do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks so much. Have a good night.
Have a good
Have
night,
a good one,
guys.
everyone.
Bye.
Good night, everyone. Take care.
See ya.